Very special guest that I have today, Dr. Michelle Bowman. So, Michelle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
That's good. So it's amazing that we're just right here in the middle of downtown Michelle's headquarters. So I'm going to throw in some questions that actually resonates well with Michelle and what she plans to do for our community. So Michelle, how is the campaign going?
It's going well. Just before we get started, I wanted to acknowledge that we're in Hattadaduni or Guelph, located on the traditional lands of many Indigenous people, and that Greens are really committed to rebuilding our nation-to-nation relationship. But yeah, back to the campaign. Greens have Guelph Greens, as usual, have really stepped up with their support, with donations, with requesting signs. They were really excited to get their signs. So lots of people volunteering. So we're really happy with the way the campaign's going.
That's good.
I also want to mention that Elizabeth May's been retweeting lots of stuff.
That's good.
Yeah, Mike Schreiner and Enemy Paul have been really supportive. So
Okay.
I just feel really lucky to run in Guelph, such a great community. So.
What made you run actually? Because you are a renowned academician, scientist, and you just jumped into politics. What made you kind of jump into politics to help your community?
Yeah, I noticed that the science that we produce wasn't being reflected in the governments that we have.
Okay.
So I really think we need people like you and me to step up and get involved.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. That's interesting. Okay, let's get into the next question. One thought of the Green Platform is about social justice reforms. So, can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so 1/3 of the platform is called A Just Society. And we've had a chance to talk a little bit about it, about the Indigenous reforms that we hope to see, but there's lots more in the platform that we'd like to people to know about. So I really appreciate this opportunity. There's sections on systemic racism, identity-based hate, criminal justice reforms, immigration and refugees, lots of stuff, Indigenous reforms, democratic reforms. So yeah, I invite everyone to have a look at the platform. I think it's really terrific.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, this platform, how is it going to be executed? Because it's a little bit controversial, and people are a little bit hesitant to talk about it. What is the reality?
Yeah, I'm not sure that it's too controversial. I think it's timely for this moment.
Exactly.
Yeah. So for example, with systemic racism, we want to start with the civil service and really clean that up. So we know there's no kind of blanket solution that's going to solve the problem. It's going to take a long time. But we'd start in the civil service and make sure we're doing a good job there. And then another focus is on policing, which I guess is a controversial subject. But I think when people understand what we mean by looking carefully at policing, they'll know that it's a little less controversial. So we want to do things like just have a review of the RCMP. We want to try to reduce crime. So Greens often try to look at prevention instead of reacting after the fact. Yeah.
Restorative justice.
Yeah. So our policing platform is called Reduce, Reallocate, Review, and Record.
Okay.
So just trying to reduce crimes before they happen, reallocate supports. So especially for mental health calls, have mental health professionals on site when they respond to mental health calls. And just keep reviewing and moving forward, getting better.
Okay.
And recording, so anytime there's use of force, record it so we can look at the numbers. Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, the next question is COVID has led to an increase in anti-Asian hate and wars in the Middle East, a rise in Islamophobia, how can we reverse this troubling trend in our society?
Yeah, I think everyone in society has been concerned about rising hate. I think the first problem is that people are struggling, and that's how they kind of act out with hate. They don't know who to blame. So I think a lot of our social supports will help. But I think the main thing is reducing misinformation. So there are online groups purposely trying to encourage this hate. So the Greens really want to look into things like artificial intelligence online, so we can reduce the misinformation and then get lots of good information. And Guelph is terrific for that. You're working lots to get good information out, and Sarah Syed, that was just hired by Guelph, is getting lots of good information out. So just really simple, reduce the misinformation and increase the good information, and have people meet you and Sarah, because you definitely can't hate them after you meet them.
That's a very good point. Okay, the next point is the war and climate change will result in more refugees. Is Canada ready to welcome them and how?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, climate will produce more refugees. We see that the war has already produced more refugees. So again, trying to prevent these things before they happen, but we know we can't stop it. So things like recognizing people's skills that come, and I think you can relate to that, Chidi.
Yeah, right.
Pathways to permanent residency, just reducing the barriers for these amazing, skilled people that are contributing to our society, and reducing the barriers, considering family reunification. So yeah, reducing a lot of the barriers that we see now.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I want to chip in a little bit because you talked about a family reunion and reducing the barriers. When a lot of immigrants come into this country, they face a lot of roadblocks, red flags, and barriers. Some of them are well educated, they have a lot of skills, but based on the generalized intake and processing of their integration, it made it a little bit harder for them to integrate, and it makes it a little bit for the Canadian society not to benefit from this from their set skills. So if they can revisit some of the procedures on how the intake is being done, I think it's going to be like a win-win for the newcomers and the Canadian society. That's a very good point.
Yeah, I think society knows that. There's lots of things in pop culture saying, if you want to know something, ask your taxi driver.
Yeah,
so we're really underutilizing the skills, and we need these skills. So yeah, we are looking at just reviewing the whole process and figuring out how to reduce those barriers.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, the next point is there anything else about the Green Just Recovery platform that you would like us to highlight?
Yeah, like I said, there's lots more in the platform. Things on democratic reform, which I'm really passionate about. So we have a better electoral system where all votes matter. Things about our heritage, a fair taxation system. So the last government couldn't even get in a 1% tax above $20 million. So we need corporations, especially online corporations like Netflix and Facebook, to pay their fair share.
Right.
Yeah, and lots of information on youth all the way through the platform, but in this section as well. The youth have kind of got a raw deal. They their future is looking a little grim, and there's not jobs, and then COVID on top of that. So we want to make sure our youth have something to hope for.
Yeah, that's good. So already, the next question is what are you going to do differently from the incumbent if elected?
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully Guelph will go green and we can get another green voice in Ottawa. First, I'll just talk about the Greens. We have the best policies. We were the first people to advocate for gay marriage. We were the first party to advocate for implementing all calls to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and missing murdered Indigenous women and girls reports. So we're always the first party to have these progressive policies. As I mentioned before, we really care about preventing problems before they happen, and also thinking into the long term. So we're not just focused on the next election or the next election cycle. Our policies haven't changed a lot because they're based on science and they're based on what's best for the long term.
Okay, that's good.
But yeah, one thing I've been saying that I don't mind repeating again is that the ideas from our policies come from our members, from the grassroots. And I think it's really important because that means our top officials, if I'm elected or if Anna Mee becomes president one day, we're not influenced by big companies and we're not influenced by big unions, people with lots of power, because the members at the very lowest rung of our party decide on which policies that we enact, and we help and experts help decide how to enact them. But the ideas come from people just like you and me.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just wrap it up with this last question. Why should we vote for you?
Yeah, thank you. Basically, I won't let you down. I'm here for people and the planet. As you said, I was kind of happily being an aquatic ecologist. I'm in this because I don't see the policies we need. They're not in our best interests. So I want to be the Mike Schreiner for Guelph. Mike Schreiner's been super successful.
He's great guy. He's been doing a lot in our community.
Yeah.
I appreciate his input.
Yeah, so what Mike does in Queen's Park is keep the important things on the agenda. So I think people don't realize how much power we have. If everyone's aware of problems, then the government can't sweep them under the carpet.
You're right.
And that's why Mike's important, because he keeps issues on the table. So Duffins Creek was a great example where we were able to save a wetland and move the Amazon warehouse somewhere else because Mike kept the issue on the table. So if you vote for me, I'll keep issues about people and the planet on the agenda in Ottawa.
That's really good.
Yeah, climate change and social justice.
Yeah, that's why I'm actually really interested in your campaign, the climate justice and social justice, because these are the two main issues that a lot of citizens and community members are facing, especially the marginalized community. It's really hurting. So with your help going to Ottawa, I think it's going to be a very big difference in our community. And I hope our community members who actually get into our website, michellebowman.ca, elect michellebowman.ca, to look exactly the issues that actually resonates to you and your vision and mission for our community.
Yeah, that would be terrific. We only kind of scratched the surface. It's a really big platform. It's a really great platform, and I really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you
help
very
spreading
much.
the word.
So thank you very much for having this opportunity to just share these lights on these little issues to our community members. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Chitty.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, everyone.